Welcome back. You're watching Investors Guide on ET now. It's time for us to take up all of the tax questions you sent in. So we've asked Suresh Surana to come in and answer your questions. Suresh, it's a pleasure to have you back on the show.
Thank you very much.
Our first question comes in from Saurabh Mishra. He's 30 years old. He tells us he recently took a joint home loan with his wife. Now, they're both working. They both want to be able to claim the tax rebate, and they both really should. He wants to understand how that can be done. Suresh, is it important for them both to be co-owners of the home? He wants to know also, is it important for both of them to pay the EMIs jointly out of their accounts? If one of them is paying the EMI and the other one is not, are they still entitled to the tax benefit? Normally, the standard advice that's given to most couples is to start a joint bank account that you both hold and move the EMI out of that bank account. Is that the solution for these two guys as well? What would you recommend?
So, Mr. Saurabh, it is possible for both you and your wife to claim the deductions. So, one is, for the repayment of the housing loan up to rupees 1.5 lakhs under section 80C, each one of you can claim the deduction. And for the interest on the housing loan up to rupees 2 lakhs, again, each one of you can claim the deduction. But the conditions are that you should be the joint owner of the house, as well as the repayment of the EMI should be done by both of you. It is not enough that only one of you pays. It is not necessary to have a joint bank account. Even if you have individual bank accounts, as long as you both make payment of your share of EMI, that will be good enough.
Atul Chaturvedi has also written in, he recently changed jobs and withdrew his Provident Fund. He says, is the whole withdrawable amount taxable? Is there any way to save tax on that PF withdrawal? Now, Atul, normally you're allowed to withdraw after 5 years, but from your email, I understand that you've only spent 4.5 years with that employer. That would also depend on the trust that's managing your PF. So let's ask Suresh for some advice.
Yes, so any amount which is the accumulated balance from the recognized provident fund, which is withdrawn by the person, it will not be taxable if there is a 5 years of continuous service, with the employer. Now, in this case, apparently you've done 4.5 years. Now, if you have worked earlier with another employer where also you were participating in the provident fund, and then that balance got transferred to this your immediately preceding employer, that period also will be counted. So in the period of continuous employment, they are counting not only the immediate employer but any previous employer where you were participating in the provident fund and that balance got transferred. In case that is not the case, in case you haven't done that, then whatever is the contribution made by your employer along with interest will be taxable as salary in your case, and whatever is your contribution, to the extent of 80C deduction, what you have claimed will be taxable, and interest on your contribution will be taxable as income from other sources. The only exception to this rule is that if it is on account of ill health or on account of, in case your employer has ceased to be in business and then you get the money, in that case it is not taxable. Otherwise it will be taxable. In fact, in this budget now 2015 has now put an obligation on the Provident Fund authority to actually deduct the tax at source at the rate of 10% while making payment to you. So I think it is going to be taxable unless you fulfill these other conditions which I spoke about.
All right, that's a wrap on Investors Guide. Suresh, thank you so much for answering our questions. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show. Remember, we have Suresh to answer your tax questions. We have experts for every area of your money. All you have to do is get in touch. You can reach me personally on Twitter as well. Thank you so much for watching.